Xin chào mừng các anh chị và quý khách hàng đã có mặt tại webinar vào buổi trưa ngày hôm nay của công ty tư vấn định cư Hዄ. Xin giới thiệu em là Tâm, chuyên viên tư vấn của công ty HŒ tại Việt Nam. Và nói về cái agenda của ngày hôm nay thì đầu tiên là cái topic của chúng ta sẽ topic ngày hôm nay của chúng ta sẽ là về phần du học, và cũng như là du học nó sẽ mang lại những cái lợi ích thiết thực nhất, đó là về cái mặt là có lương. Thì anh Willy cũng là giám đốc của công ty HÖ sẽ giới thiệu đôi nét về công ty cũng như là các cái loại visa du học mà mình sẽ có thể theo được, và sau đó là một phần giới thiệu về trường QUEENSFORD College đến từ anh Dallas Vonhoff. Ok, William, it's to you.
Okay. Is someone going to translate, or am I just going to continue? Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Just say. I
okay.
think they
Sure. Okay. Hello. I'm Willie. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a director at HÖ Migration Consulting. So I think today, we're very privileged to have, Dallas Vonhoff from QCA College with us today as well. So we're going to talk through, I think for me, I'm going to give the introduction about our company, and then also, just the different visa pathways, of which, of course, studying is one pathway which we'll talk about, which Dallas will cover in his college offerings. I think, definitely, there are many different visa options, but I will choose the popular ones that are done, I would say are done from offshore, right? I wouldn't say just for Vietnam, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions in the Vietnamese market, but we can cover off what are the possible visa pathways done from offshore, so outside of Australia, right? Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, can you see my screen? Great. Okay, so just on our company first, introduction of our company. We are, of course, a very well-established firm of 14 years. We started and we, of course, running our company from Hong Kong. Hong Kong, I must make a distinction. It's a very international city. We are different to mainland China, right? So in that sense, being in Hong Kong and running for 14 years, we have served many of our clients from like all over Asia, because Hong Kong being a very international city. So also, about just over 1 year ago, we made the decision to expand our office, and we set up an office in Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, right? So really, because we see Vietnam as a growth area. We saw the statistics from the Australian Migration Office, just the number of applications that are growing rapidly in Vietnam, and us as migration license agents, we want to serve this, opportunity and really, serve the Vietnamese market, right? So something about us is, we are 2 licensed, Australian agents in our company. So of course, I am one of them. You see the one on the right, and then John, the founder of our company, is the second, right? I think that is very important. For anyone in the Vietnam market who are exploring migration to Australia. There are very few actually licensed people in Vietnam, right? And this was actually our main driver to set up our office in Vietnam. Like I do want to show and just show you how you can search this, right? So to search for actual registered migration agents for Australia, you can simply type in Office of MARA. So here you can see, this is the government website, Migration Agents Registration Authority. Search for a registered migration agent, right? So here, if you go down to Vietnam, and this is Vietnam, not Ho Chi Minh, right? Like a country of 100 million people. You can see there are only 5 at the moment, right? So myself, Willie, and John. So we are 2 out of 5 in Vietnam, right? So that to me is astounding, right? Like of course here you can see our registration of our Vietnam office in Ho Chi Minh in District 1, and myself, and of course the license number. But and that was a key driver for us to decide to set up the office in Vietnam, because we are 2 out of 5 registered migration agent who actually have a presence in Vietnam, right? And actually actually have a presence. So the difference here is, you may be talking to lots of people in Vietnam about migration to Australia, but like normally they partner with someone in Australia, or they partner with partner with someone who's partnering with someone in Australia. So many layers. With us, you're directly in contact with us and me directly. I will meet you directly and discuss your case. For us to get the license, of course we have to study the course in Australian university, but also we have to continuously update information and update our training every single year to renew our license. So therefore, regulation changes every single year. Migration regulation changes so much, right? So having the most updated information and knowing knowing kind of that the person you're speaking to actually understands the latest information in the market is very important. So that is us, that is our firm. Something that also I want to say is, everything we do is in-house, right? So right now Hong Kong, we probably have a team of 25. In Vietnam, we have a team of 10. Everything we do is in-house. We don't outsource. Right? We don't outsource to other people, because we really respect, the confidentiality of our clients' information and documents, right? Like we respect that, and hence, yes, it may be a more kind of a more expensive business model, but we do everything in-house. We don't, we keep everything in-house to, uphold the highest level of integrity. Okay, so that's us, and that's our firm. Okay. I want to talk about different visas. It's really interesting, different visas, because our clients tell us, like I hear this, I hear that, like many information in this in the market. I know there's a lot of information on Facebook and whatsoever that people see, but I mean, I'm going to go through just at high level. Of course, yourself, your friends, your family who want to migrate to Australia, please be in contact with Leo and who's our country head, and our team, our sales team, right? So we will assess your case on a case-by-case basis and decide with you which visa is suitable to you, right? Because just because it's suitable to someone doesn't mean it's suitable to you, right? So I think that is very important. Okay, so skill migration, just to start, skill migration of this aimed at professionals, I would say, really aimed at professionals. I've only outlined the visa types that are typically applied from offshore, so outside of Australia, okay? Things that we do plenty of, right? These 3 visas are your points test visas, 189, 190, 491, okay? So of course, aiming at under 45 years old, minimum IELTS or 6, right? Minimum IELTS or 6, and have to match an occupation code as specified by the Department, of Home Affairs. So, here we get your CV, we do your points test, and we have a discussion with you on how competitive you are compared to the market, right? So this is what we do. Other than that, 858. I probably should say this is the GTI visa, right? Something that I'm very shocked that Vietnam does not really do, all right? So I think there are definitely a lot of global talents in the Vietnamese market that should apply for GTI. This is aiming at a higher level, a high level of talent, not your entry level. And they, and they are aiming at 10 target sectors, 10 target sectors here, you can see. So typically, we do many from Hong Kong, Singapore, all around Asia. We actually do a lot of these cases, and happy to share with you our experience, right? But definitely, I think in Vietnam, because it's not well known, not many people apply, right? So I think definitely financial services, digitech, renewable energy, circular economy, or something like health industries or whatsoever. Yeah, all these industries, I think there's definitely scope to do for global talent in Vietnam. So here, there's a functional English requirement. However, you can just pay a course fee and not take the IELTS test, right? So that's possible too. So I think for GTI, definitely anyone who is high level, senior management, business owners in IT, in finance, in renewable energy, in sustainable energy, in agri-tech, things like that, do come and talk to us, and we can see if you're suitable for the GTI visa. This is a direct PR visa, okay? So this is skill. And now really kind of talking about, just easier or lower requirement visas. We get a lot of inquiries. We get a lot of inquiries about visitor and working holiday visa, right? We get a lot. I mean, I think this is something that many people talk about in Vietnam, right? Oh, is it visitor visa or working holiday? Yeah, definitely we can do that. Of course we can do that. I mean, we're the licensed firm. However, I think though, right, we always want to talk to you about what your objective is. What is your reason to actually apply for this visa? If you say for visitor visa, you need to know that this visa, you cannot work in Australia, right? I mean, legally cannot work. I mean, unless you're telling me, you're going to work somehow, some other reason, right? But it cannot work. It's purely a visitor visa. And there is something that we call GTE, genuine temporary entrance. So they assess the criteria that you're a genuine visitor. You're not there to go and try to work, because each visa has its objective. The visitor visa is to visit only, okay, as a holiday. Yes, can stay up to 1 year, but they may not apply grants up to 1 year. If they see there's no reason for you, if you don't have friends, and if you don't have like a close relative or a real good reason to go, why would they give you 1 year to stay? You just a visitor. You could 3 months is enough for a holiday, right? So that's a visitor visa. Many people talk to us and ask about the work and holiday visa, or working holiday visa, as they say. This is aimed at under 30, 18 to 30 years old. I do want to say, right, these are things that I'm not sure if the market knows, or just, this is subject to quota per country. And yes, allowed to work, but allowed to work in very specific types of work. You can't just go and work, any job. You cannot. It's very specific on the type of work that you're allowed to do under this visa, 462. Okay. So I want to say at the moment, like if you see the working holiday quota, right, at the moment, they have all these, country. For Vietnam is currently closed, right? It's currently closed, right? So we're looking for it to open at the start of next year, but there's not a big quota, right? There's not a big quota. You see like 1,500, whatever it is, right? It's not a lot, but nevertheless, yes, it's definitely a pathway to go to Australia very temporarily and to do very specific work, right? So when we say specific work, like you got to understand what type of work, like, okay, like tourism and hospitality in northern or remote Australia. So not in the city. You got to go to remote Australia, right? Like regional area. plant and animal cultivation in Northern Australia, like again, regional areas. Fishing, pearling in Northern Australia, tree farming, construction in, again, regional area, bushfire recovery work, flood recovery work, blah, 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 right? So a lot of this, you can imagine, these are areas, remote areas, and these industry need people, right? They really need people. So if someone's willing to go and do this, you could say a little bit harsh kind of work in remote areas, then they can come, right? So of course that is possible, but I would say 462 working holiday visa is for people that want to earn money, a little bit of money, short time, not to stay in Australia long term. So I think that is very clear that we must understand, right? Like, and what is the objective of the visa. Okay, now we come to the two visas that we think that we will focus on in the Vietnam market. We will focus on study, which Dallas will talk through, his college and his offerings. But of course, we're not just going to do any study, right? For us being a migration firm, we're going to do study pathways, which, and specifically for different courses, which has a pathway to stay potentially in Australia. Or clearer, like, you're not just going to go study and see what happens and go there and see what happens. We more want to plan with you before you go, that you can see how other people have moved on from study to something else. And likewise for training, right? Likewise for training as well, right? The training visa is, again, something that is very a good way, right? If you want to target an occupation where you potentially could stay in Australia in that occupation. So here we will say, English, there will be some English criteria from the department. However, also, because here, you may be working whilst you're studying, or you may be working whilst you're training. You have to be at a level where you can talk to the employer is important too. Okay, that's also something that's important. Age-wise, we're not going to say a specific, there's no one specific age, but, normally we say ideally under 40. If it's over 40 years old, we can assess on a case-by-case basis, okay? And we'll talk to you about this. So today's theme is on study, but study with a very specific purpose, right? Not just go and study English or study business or IT. No, we're more thinking about vocational education. Something that is very targeted, very niche, so that we actually move on to different, we already plan all the steps ahead and the different visas ahead after study. Okay, so this is our job as a migration agent in Vietnam, to work with you so that you have this pathway all planned out even before you go study. Okay, so normally here we would work with you on choosing the right course for a subclass 500 student visa, right? So, subclass 500 student visa, we have to think about the course. We have to think about, what's suitable for you. And if you think about this also is, whilst you study, you can actually work 26 hours per week during your study weeks. And then when you have term breaks, you can actually work full time. So this, I'm sure I'll let Dallas go through, but we can work with you that actually, whilst you're studying, you can definitely be earning, money that can support your stay in Australia, if not pay for a little bit of the school fees as well, right? So, but also what's good there is, as you're studying, working, you're getting to know the employers. So when you finish the course, and you move on to the 485 visa, the graduate visa, you will have employment. And likewise, after the 485 visa, you move on to the TR visa 482, because you even from right at the start when you're studying, you're getting relationships with employers. Then you can move on, 482 and then a permanent visa. I mean, I think in detail, we, of course, please contact our team, Leo, and the team, our sales team, to discuss with you the different steps. But this is our job. We are different to a normal education firm in Vietnam, because we are more focused on migration, right? So that is our job. So that is the study pathway, and of course, we also talked about vocational training, which we're not going to talk about too much today, but we definitely have that as an offering as well. So I think that's it for me. Leo, I'll give back to you, and then or we can go straight to Dallas. Is okay as well, yeah. But I think you have to make him host.
Yeah. Let me sum up for our guest.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Thì như anh Willy vừa có chia sẻ thì công ty TRÍNH là công ty về tư vấn định cư, nên cái việc tư vấn về con đường du học nó không chỉ dừng lại ở cái việc là mình đi du học, mà nó sẽ là cái plan về sau, với đường dài của mình là để định cư được ở Úc. Thì trong đó là Willy đã có chia sẻ với chúng ta về một số những cái visa trước. Đầu tiên là những cái visa về việc làm dành cho các anh chị có kinh nghiệm, có kỹ năng. Đó là những visa 189, 190, 491. Và tiếp theo là những cái dạng visa dạng du học, và sau du học thì chúng ta sẽ có dạng visa 500, visa 485, 482, và sau đó mình có thể lên visa thường trú là 186. Và sẽ có một cái dạng visa nữa là dạng visa 407. Và hôm nay thì có anh Dallas đến từ trường Cao Đẳng QUEENSFORD, thì anh sẽ chia sẻ với chúng ta thêm về những cái khóa học cũng như giới thiệu sơ nét về trường QUEENSFORD. Và trường thì có rất là nhiều campus ở rất là nhiều bang của Úc. Dạ vâng ạ. Okay, Dallas, so I think it's your turn now. You can turn on your camera. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for introducing me. I'll just share my screen real quick. Great. So yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to be able to talk about the opportunities of studying in Australia. We actually have campuses all throughout Australia. So Brisbane, Parramatta, which is a suburb of Sydney, and then we do also have campuses in Adelaide and in Hobart as well. So you might be a little bit familiar with the Australian education system, where if you're studying in a regional area, it's a little bit easier to go on future visa types. So we do have regional campuses as well. That's Adelaide and Hobart. So we offer quite a wide variety of courses. I'll spend some time going through all of the courses today. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Before we go too far, one thing I will say is that if you are wanting to study in a particular city, just have a look to see what the city is like, okay? So for example, you might notice I'm wearing a puffer jacket right now. It's pretty cold here in Brisbane during winter, but we're actually the warmest out of these 4 cities year round. So, maybe if you want to live in a warm climate, Brisbane is for you, but Adelaide or Hobart, if you prefer winter. Of course, Brisbane and Sydney are the 2 biggest cities we have campuses in as well. So that's something to consider. But just a little bit about what's so great about studying in Australia is you're going to be here for a minimum of 2 years. So it's a long time to actually settle in and find some work and start enjoying Australia. So just some key points about Australia that our students quite enjoy about the country is, we have some of the most livable cities in the world. So very low crime rates. And as well, we have this great combination of natural beauty, but still advanced infrastructure as well. So I love to use this example on the screen right now of the Gold Coast, which is about 1 hour south of Brisbane. You can see right along the Pacific Ocean, we have skyscrapers and things like this at the Gold Coast, and of course similar setups in Sydney and Brisbane as well. So quite a really good blend of nature and these sort of technology. Australia is a multicultural nation, so 51% of Australians were born overseas or their parents were born overseas. So as an international student, that's would be comforting to know that you actually would be in the majority in being in migrating to Australia. So it's quite an interesting statistic that's pretty unique to Australia. So that's one point to mention as well. Now, on a student visa, you do get to work while you study. So you're allowed to work up to 48 hours per fortnight after July. So from the 1st of July, they're actually expanding the working hours to be 48 hours per fortnight. So it's going to be a little bit easier to come and enjoy Australia to the fullest extent from July. So the minimum wage in Australia is actually the highest in the world at $21.38 per hour. That's Australian dollars, of course, right? So yeah, the highest the minimum wage in the world, and that's for someone that is completely unskilled. Okay, so that's just anyone over the age of 21 that's just working full time will be earning a minimum of $21 per hour. Now, as well, there are some opportunities to apply for a post-study work visa. So even once you finish your studies, you can stay in Australia and work depending on if you meet the requirements at that stage, of course. But there is some pathways that the team at John Migration will talk to you about as well. So just a little bit about our school before I go too far in. You know, we've been around for 15 years now, which is quite a long time for an RTO in Australia, a vet school in Australia. We're one of the oldest ones now, actually. We started with just a small campus in Brisbane, just only 2 courses, only 5 staff, and at that time, only international students. But now in 2023, we have 5 campuses across 4 different cities. We have more than 20 different courses available to study. We employ, I believe, actually more than 100 staff now across different campuses and overseas as well. And we have both international and domestic students. So that means that there's going to be Australians studying in your classes with you for some of your classes. So just to keep in mind, you know, we've been continuously growing. I've been with the company for about 7 years now. And during that time, I've been able to watch this company grow quite a lot. And we've been able to recruit thousands of students now and help them get into Australia and start achieving their dreams. So it's been quite inspiring to see over the years. The reason why we've been able to expand so much and cater to such a large group of students is we focus on the student experience, okay? So what I mean by that is the facilities that we have here at Queensford College are very high quality. We invest quite a lot of money, to put it blankly. We've been investing quite a lot of money into our resources and our infrastructure to make sure that our students get the best quality education that they can for the price that they're paying. So we have things like our nursing lab, our computer labs, our aged care environment, our childcare environments. We have full commercial kitchens built into all of our campuses as well for our hospitality students. And on top of that, we only have 2 classes per week. So just 2 days per week, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. is your class. That means you have 5 days throughout the week to, you know, do some self-study or to work or to enjoy your time in Australia. We also only have a pass or fail system. So there's, you know, normally at university or college, you will be getting like a high distinction or a distinction or credit pass, something like this, right? A, B, C, D, E. But at Queensford, we just have pass or fail, and that's it. If you fail, you have 2 weeks to resubmit your assessment without any academic penalty, without any financial penalty. You don't need to redo a semester. It's quite, what's the best word? We really try to make our experience for our students simplified. As well, we hire the best type of trainers we can, in the sense of every trainer that you have, all your teachers will be very well experienced within the industry, giving you lots of good advice to help you succeed in Australia. And as well, we do have some university pathways. So you can actually study with us and then go study at another Australian university, get credit transfer, pay a little bit less, study for a little bit less, but stay in Australia on another student visa if you choose to do that. I have this quick video just to show off a little bit about Queensford College, just to give you an overview, show you some examples of what our school looks like. So on the screen right now, you can get an idea of our commercial cookery kitchens, what our classrooms look like. You'll see some footage right here now of the nursing lab, as well as some footage from one of our graduation events. So part of making sure that our students have a good experience is the classrooms and the resources, but also graduation events, picnics, barbecues, and things like this. So I'll talk more about that soon. So we basically have 2 different types of programs. We have our vocational placement programs, which you will be sent out into the field to actually complete some work experience as part of your course. And then we have our non-vocational placement programs, which are more like business-focused enterprise programs, we call them, which is more business-focused, and there's not any vocational placement. So I'll spend a bit of time talking about them, but our vocational placement programs are our most popular courses because these are the ones that have really good pathway options in Australia. So let's start with our hospitality programs. We actually have a Cert 4 in Kitchen Management, Diploma of Hospitality Management, and Advanced Diploma of Hospitality Management. These 3 programs, we put them in one course package for 2 to 3 years, depending on whether you want to do the advanced diploma or not. I would recommend it. I'll get into why shortly. But we have these courses available across all of our campuses now. With Hobart campus is having their first intake for Cert 4 in Kitchen Management in October. So that will now be available in October from that campus as well. So the main benefits of studying, I should mention, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the individual units of learning through each course. I'll focus today on more of the pathway and this type of thing and the experience. If you want to look into each course, you can definitely check out our website. We have a lot of information on our website. Now, the benefits of studying at Queensford is our industry experience trainers. So our chefs are chefs, and they've been chefs for a very long time. We have 360 hours of vocational placement, which means that you're able to go work in the industry, get some experience, and start networking as well as part of your course. You will receive fully equipped, the kitchen's going to be utilizing a fully equipped, and you will be receiving the uniforms and tools as part of your course cost. So you don't need to go buy anything extra. We provide all the resources for you. As well, we have some really great vocational placement partners. Ridges, Versace, Sofitel. We have like 4 or 5-star hotels and restaurants is where we send our students for their work experience. So very high quality training is what you'll be receiving. Now, I have this other video here as well of our Parramatta campus kitchen, which we opened just 2 years ago, back in 2021 during COVID, actually. Now, this kitchen, the main thing I want you to take note of is how great the kitchen looks. You know, we really put a lot of effort into making sure that our students are going to be able to utilize it to the fullest extent, really bringing the opportunity to level up their skills and become great chefs in Australia. So we have similar resources for all of our programs, actually. Whether you're doing hospitality, childcare, aged care, nursing, we have really great resources for you to utilize during the course. Now, on the screen right now is an example of the minimum wage you'd be receiving when you're working full-time and studying after studying in Australia. So this is full-time salary, okay? This is the minimum wage. So of course, your salary can actually be quite a lot higher than this, depending on your experience and things like this, but this is the absolute minimum that a chef can be paid in Australia. So as you complete more and more courses and level up your career, you can of course expect your salary to increase as well. But just to put it very plainly, our courses cost about 10,000 Australian dollars per year to study. But after completing a course like at our cert for in kitchen management, you'll be earning minimum of 50,000 per year when you're working full time. So actually as well, casual employed people actually do get a higher rate than this too. So there is the salary is a bit variable, but this is the minimum a full-time worker can get. Let's move now on to our aged care management package. So we actually packaged together our aged care program with either a diploma of leadership and management or a graduate diploma of management for people that already have done their bachelor degree. So the goal with this program is to get you into Australia, teach you how to become an aged care worker, and then teach you how to become an aged care manager. That's why we package these two programs together. So it's available across all of our campus locations, actually, and it's a 2-year course package total when you do the diploma. The salary for an aged care worker starts at about 44,000 per year on the low end, but of course, if you have some experience working or you've been a really great employee during your vocational placement, you can expect your salary to be quite a bit higher. And then as well, once you complete the diploma of leadership and management, and if you manage to become a business manager or a facilities manager, actually your salary will definitely increase from there too. Now, moving on to our childcare programs, we have the Cert 3 in Early Childhood Education and Care and our Diploma of Early Childhood Education and Care. Now, these two programs are some of my personal favorite programs at Queensford because the industry really demands a lot of childcare workers right now. And the salary can be quite substantial, as well as how easy it is to find work in all the different states, but especially in regional areas. Regional areas really need childcare workers in Australia right now, to the point where people within the childcare industry are calling us, asking if we can send our students out to the regional area. So these courses are some really great options. Now, the Cert 3, once you become a childcare assistant or a childcare worker, you can be earning up to 50,000 Australian dollars per year as a minimum when you're working full time. And once you become a centre manager or an educator, you can be earning at least $61,000 per year minimum. And that's after just 2 years of study only. Now I'll move over to our enterprise programs. This includes our accounting program, IT, leadership and management, and our graduate diploma of management. The goal for most of our students who study these is to use these programs to gain entry into a bachelor degree and then use that bachelor degree to then continue their pathway throughout Australia. Okay, so for these type of courses really depends on your circumstance, but the team at John Hu Migration will definitely be able to help you out with this one and find a good pathway for you. Now, we have the cert for in accounting and bookkeeping and the diploma of accounting, which is available in Brisbane and Parramatta. The salary starts about $42,000 for this one and goes up based on experience as well, again, working full-time. Now, these courses, like I said, will actually help you get into a bachelor program in Australia for accounting. Similarly, we have our IT programs, Diploma of IT and Advanced Diploma of IT, available in Brisbane, Sydney, and in Hobart as well. Now, these programs is a 2.5-year course package, and the salary for IT workers in like a help desk sort of role, you know, IT support, they go from $44,000 to about $60,000 minimum, depending on the role and your experience level. Now, our leadership and management programs are actually some of our most popular programs at QUEENSFORD College, because when it comes to studying these, we actually do have entry requirements per course. I'll talk about that in a few slides, but a large majority of our students that already are a bit older, like 30 plus, have a lot of experience in the industry already, and we can use that industry experience to actually help them become managers within that same industry, but in Australia. So that's the goal with our management programs, and they're some of our most popular courses for that reason. So they're available across all of our campus locations for a 2-year course package. Now, as well, the salary starts about $48,000 absolute minimum for managers. I think actually this has increased in the last couple of years since I made this, since I got this data 2 financial years ago. However, yes, the salary is quite substantial as a manager, and it's only actually increased in recent years too. So minimum of $48,000 just if you're working as like a retail manager, but if you are working in an industry you already have a lot of experience, you can expect a higher salary too. Graduate Diploma of Management is a 2-year course package, and we have this program just for students who have already completed their bachelor. So you wouldn't be eligible for this unless you already have a bachelor. So this is for our people that have already been working for a long time in the industry, and they're just looking to come to Australia to get some further work experience and level up their career a little bit more after their bachelors. Salary starts at about $48,000 as well, and only goes up from there. So I think now is a good time to mention as well, when it comes to the finding a job in Australia, we of course can't guarantee you that we'll find you a job. We're not a job search agency, unfortunately, but we do have a lot of contacts throughout all these different industries. So if you're having trouble finding work in the industry that you're studying, just let us know, okay? And we'll be able to like assist you and putting in some good words for you and referring you to a few people for some interviews. Now, in terms of university pathways, we've partnered specifically with Griffith University in Brisbane, Australian Institute of Higher Education, UNE, and Kaplan Business School. They've all agreed to accept credit transfer for our students or at absolute minimum entry into similar programs. So that means that you could study like a childcare program at QUEENSFORD College and then get 1 year off of the total duration of like a Bachelor of Child and Family Services at Griffith, meaning you'll be able to complete a bachelor in just 2 years and for less money as well, because you're only studying 2 years instead of 3. So there is some really great benefits of going towards university afterwards as well. In terms of entry requirements, we're just looking for a satisfactory completion of year 12 or a completed bachelor with relevant work experience so we can put you into our graduate diploma of management. And for English ability, we just need you to have an IELTS 5.5 overall with no bands less than 5.0, or just taking our free online English test. If you pass our English test, you don't need to take IELTS to study with us. Now, one thing to mention though is that, you know, if you can understand me okay right now, you should be fine to pass the online LLN test. Now, in terms of entry requirements, per course, we do have some recommended programs. So if you already have a bachelor with work experience, we'd recommend you to do the graduate diploma. If you've already been working in teaching or education, we'd recommend you to do our childcare course, right? For example, hospitality or tourism. I know in Vietnam, hospitality is a very big industry. So we'd recommend you to take advantage of that if your work experience is that and go towards hospitality. When it comes to Australia, it's all about building your career, all about building a very strong reason to come and study, okay? So you can utilize that to kind of like to the best of your ability to help when writing your GTE statement, the genuine temporary entrance statement. Now, in terms of enrolling, it's actually quite simple. We try to make it as easy as possible. The first step is just to complete an enrollment form and send through your academics, your passport, and your resume. Those 4 documents is all we need to get you an offer letter. we'll write up an offer letter which outlines everything you need to know about the course, the payment, the duration, everything. And then we'll send that through to your to John Hugh Migration to review with you and go through it with you, make sure you understand it. Then we'll have you take our English test, which is free and online, and you have 3 attempts of that English test. And then we'll have you write the GTE statement, the genuine temporary entrance statement. We'll help you out with that one. It's the most important step in this entire process is writing your GTE statement so you can justify why you need to come to Australia. I'll talk more about that very soon. But once we've approved your GTE, we'll have you sign the offer letter, pay a deposit in order to confirm your seat at the college. And then we'll send you through the COE, confirmation of enrollment, which is what is then used to apply for your student visa. In terms of payment plans, we usually just ask for the initial tuition fee deposit, enrollment fee, material fee, and health insurance up front. And then as well as a much smaller deposit for the second and third course if you're studying more than one course with us. We then put the rest of the tuition fee on a monthly payment plan, which starts 2 months after the intake date. Okay, so that gives you 2 months to settle into Australia, really, find a good place to rent, maybe find a job, start earning some money before having to pay any other tuition fee. Depending on how much you pay up front, your monthly tuition fee payment will be about 1,000 to 1,500 Australian dollars per month. And one thing to note is our upfront amount in order to enroll at the school is usually about like 3,000 to like 6,000 Australian dollars, depending on the course that you study. Okay, cool. Now, I won't spend too much time talking about GTE statement today. We can help you with that at a later stage, but there is some very key important points that you need to know. Firstly, you need to talk about your education history and your employment history. Is it relevant to your studies? It should be, actually. It should be relevant to your studies. It helps when you're building a career, okay? You need to talk about why you chose Australia. You can use the points that I mentioned right at the start of this, the safety, advanced cities, the low crime rate. These are all reasons you can want to study in Australia instead of in Vietnam or instead of in Canada or instead of the US. You need to justify why Australia. You'll need to explain how the course will benefit your career. How is it going to help you back home in Vietnam? You'll need to talk about if you have a husband or wife or any children. Are they going to come to Australia with you? That is one advantage of a student visa. You actually can bring your family with you if you like. It just costs, it is a bit more expensive. The health insurance costs a lot more, for example. And then finally, and most importantly, you have to state a compelling reason to return home. GTE stands for genuine temporary entrant. So you need to be able to justify why you need to come to Australia and then how it's going to help you when you return back home. Okay, that's the point of a student visa. It's an export business, is international education. It's Australia's 5th largest industry is international education in terms of exports. So the Australian government views it as you coming to Australia, getting high quality education and high quality work experience, and then exporting it back home. Okay, cool. If you have questions about that, we can definitely help you out on that one. Now, I should mention as well, this is not like a binding contract. The things you say in here, it's just your plan. Of course, once you're in Australia, your plan can change, okay? I just think I should mention that really quickly. Now, finally, the last couple slides here. Thank you so much for your attention so far, everyone. Now, the main thing to keep in mind is we have 10 weeks worth of holidays all throughout the year, okay? So that means you have 10 weeks of when you're able to work full-time in Australia, unlimited hours in Australia when you're on your holiday breaks or when you're in between courses. So that's one thing to keep in mind. As well, we have intake dates all throughout the year too, 7 intake dates every single year. Our next one is going to be on the 31st of July. Recently, it's only been taking us about 3 weeks to get a student visa. So there is actually time for you to come and study on 31st of July if you're quick. Otherwise, 11th September or 30th of October, or just whenever suits you next year, similar to these intake dates. There's no current quarantine period or anything like that for Australia. We're kind of COVID hasn't seemed to come back, thankfully. So hopefully this won't change, but of course, just double check the requirements before traveling once you do get your student visa. Finally, we post a lot on social media. So if you want to see what our kitchens look like, our hospitality classes, childcare, anything, if you want to have a look, check out our social media. We post quite a bit and it's very helpful information for your studies. The last thing I wanted to show today was just an example of what our QueensFord graduation events look like. Every year or so, we spend quite a bit of time and effort putting together these sort of graduation events for our students. This is just part of the student experience that I was talking about earlier, where we are we want to make sure that our students have a really good time in Australia. graduation is one of the most important bits of studying, in my opinion. Of course, it was for me, you know. So now we really try to throw like a good event for our students, and it's not just graduations. We do barbecues, picnics. We really try to have a really good community at QUEENSFORD College. So and graduations is just one part of that one. So cool. That's basically it from me. I'm not sure if we're able to take questions if we have time, or if anyone has any questions, I would be happy to answer, but I guess I can hand it back to you now. Thanks.
Okay, thank Dallas. That's quite a long presentation for you. Okay, thank you
yes,
so much.
sorry about that. A lot of information to get through, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I think we will give on the audience around 5 minutes, so they will gather their information and then ask the question if they have any. Dạ vâng, anh chị mình có câu hỏi nào thì mình có thể nhập vào phần khung chat để Willy và Dallas có thể trả lời luôn cho mình ạ.
So this is anyone who's typing questions, right? Yeah. If you don't have any questions, they can type.
Yeah, I just asked them.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
So maybe in the meantime, Dallas, can you maybe remind them again about the requirement to apply for the course in QUEENSFORD? Because maybe it's a long presentation, so maybe they will miss some basic information from the beginning.
No worries. I'll share my screen real quick again. This is the enrollment procedure, but let me go back to the requirements here. So this is the main bit of information. Satisfactory completion of year 12 or a bachelor with relevant work experience. And then having a look at your resume and your study history, we'll recommend some type of program for you that we think would be best for your situation. And then that's what we use to, this is the next slide where we delegate a course based on your experience. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we can put it here so they can see all the course that you can offer for them.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll leave it up.
Okay, so we have the first question. So is there any requirement about the financial requirement for this program?
For the study visa, we don't require any financials, and I believe that currently Vietnam is not required to provide financial evidence when applying for a student visa. This might change. This actually changes, can change every 6 months. So it's due for another change in about 4 months, I believe. So if you're serious about studying in Australia and you want to apply while it's easiest, this is one of the easiest times I've ever seen for the Vietnamese market. So if you're serious about Australia, try and get all your documents together within the next couple months.
Okay. Dạ, vâng ạ. Để em trả lời cái phần này trong tiếng Việt cho mọi người nắm. Thì đối với chương trình visa du học này thì mình sẽ không có yêu cầu chứng minh tài chính. Nhưng mà luật của Úc thì nó sẽ thay đổi 6 tháng một lần, nên là hiện tại đang là cái thời điểm rất là tốt để mình có thể nghĩ đến một cái chương trình du học và lâu dài hơn là một cái chương trình định cư bằng cái con đường đi du học ở thời điểm hiện tại, bởi vì đang không có yêu cầu về chứng minh tài chính. Okay, so we have another one. So with this program, can they use PTE instead of IELTS? And if they don't have the English requirement, can they just pay more?
Okay, great question. Yeah, they definitely can. If they've already done PTE, they can absolutely use that if they meet the similar requirement of IELTS, like 5.5 in IELTS. I can't remember off the top of my head what that is in PTE, but the equivalent, yes, we can accept. If you don't have IELTS and you don't have PTE, you can actually pass our free online English test, and then you don't need to submit IELTS actually. Of course, IELTS and PTE will be helpful for your visa application. The more documents and the more prepared you are to study, the more evidence you have, the better your chances are typically. But we haven't had any issues recruiting from Vietnam without the IELTS test before, so it should be okay.
Dạ vâng, thì về câu hỏi vừa rồi thì câu hỏi về IELTS mà có thể thay thế bằng PTE hay không thì hoàn toàn có thể thay thế được, và cái điểm nó đâu đó nó sẽ tương đương khoảng 36 điểm của PTE và đối với trường thì trường sẽ có một cái khóa học trong trường hợp mình không có những cái bằng, mình không có thi những cái bằng PTE hoặc là IELTS này, thì trường sẽ có một cái khóa để mình chứng minh được cái năng lực về tiếng Anh. Nhưng mà để nói về câu chuyện dài hơn là về định cư thì mình cũng vẫn nên thi những cái bằng chứng chỉ quốc tế như IELTS và PTE. So we have another question here. Is there any age limit for the program, because the client is 33 now and have university graduate already? So can she find an opportunity in Australia with her case?
Yeah, that's a really good question as well. We can accept up to like 40 years old is kind of the maximum that we're accepting currently. We actually don't have a limit, but that seems to be the what type of visas seem to be working best right now is people younger than 40. Now, that age, like 30, I think you said 33, right? That applicant age is actually quite strong. We have a very good history of accepting people about that age, about 32, 33, with work experience and with like education experience already. That's actually kind of, for vocational education, that can be a really big plus in terms of just they're already well established and they're already working and looking for their next opportunity, becoming a manager in Australia, for example. That would be a kind of just a good justification of why they want to be studying in Australia.
Okay. Dạ, với câu hỏi là về độ tuổi tham gia chương trình thì đối với trường QUEENSFORD thì nó sẽ không có cái giới hạn về độ tuổi, nhưng mà thông thường thì cái độ tuổi dưới 40 sẽ là cái độ tuổi khá thích hợp để mình bắt đầu cái chương trình du học ở bên Úc, và cái việc khách hàng ở độ tuổi khoảng 32, 33 thì gần như là cái độ tuổi lý tưởng, và nhất là khi khách đã có những cái bằng cấp về đại học ở Việt Nam và đang muốn tìm kiếm một cái cơ hội mới ở Úc. Okay, so we have another question in English already. In the case that I failed the subject or course and must attend the retest or exam, will my student visa extend until I complete the course, or will it affect my visa if my study wasn't up to the bar of standard?
That's another really good question. A really good question this seminar. So one thing that's great about our education is if you fail a unit, you have 2 weeks to resubmit that unit again without any academic penalty or without any financial penalty. So you have 2 weeks to resubmit it. And then most of the time, we do have students that occasionally fall a little bit behind, but thankfully on a student visa, there's about a month to 2 months after the course date is when your visa expires. So there's a little bit of leeway. If you haven't finished a unit by the end date, we can actually extend your course by a little bit so that you have enough time to complete the units that you haven't, like that you failed previously and didn't resubmit. But most of our students are able to catch up just 2 weeks after they receive a fail mark. So for like 99% of students, that it's okay. Yeah, they don't need to extend or anything.
Okay. Dạ vâng, với câu hỏi là trong trường hợp mình rớt môn, nợ môn thì phải thi lại thì nó có ảnh hưởng gì tới cái visa của mình hay không? Thì thông thường thì cái khóa học nó sẽ kết thúc trước 1 tới 2 tháng trước khi visa hết hạn, nên là nó sẽ không có ảnh hưởng nhiều. Và trong những trường hợp thực tế thì nếu trong trường hợp phải thi lại thì thường cũng sẽ chỉ mất khoảng tối đa là 2 tuần để mình có thể hoàn thành được cái khóa học đó thôi ạ. Okay, so we have another one. Should they apply the student visa in Vietnam or from Australia? Which one is easier?
Okay, so in my personal experience, it doesn't matter too much in terms of visa grant rate. Both is okay. But I would say that there is some advantage of applying when you're in Australia in terms of if you don't get a visa, like if you receive a rejection or you don't get a visa grant notice, you're actually able to appeal the visa if you're inside Australia. However, that means that you need to apply for multiple visas, you need to go through multiple checks and things like this. If you already have a tourist visa and you're already planning on coming to Australia, that might be one option for you, is to apply when you're in Australia. But I would say for most students, it makes more sense to apply from while you're in Vietnam itself. But we can be flexible on that actually.
Dạ vâng, với câu hỏi là nộp visa du học từ Việt Nam hay nộp từ bên Úc sẽ dễ đậu visa hơn thì thực sự ra là nó sẽ không có cái quy định về cái việc nộp bên nào nó sẽ dễ đậu hơn, cũng như là cũng không có cái tiền lệ nào hết. Nhưng mà vẫn có những trường hợp mà mình xin visa du lịch sau đó mình chuyển đổi sang visa du học khi mình đang ở bên Úc. Nhưng mà đối với Dallas thì bằng kinh nghiệm thực tế thì anh khuyên rằng đã là du học sinh thì chúng ta nên apply từ phía Việt Nam, nó sẽ tốt hơn cho hồ sơ của mình. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I suppose, Leo, I mean, that's kind of where, you know, the process starts with the client coming to us and us doing the assessments, right? And we can advise the client on the most appropriate pathway.
Yeah. Và cái việc khi mà mình nộp hồ sơ từ phía Việt Nam thì cũng sẽ được cái sự hỗ trợ hết sức từ phía John Hu, không chỉ đơn giản ở cái visa du học mà nó còn là cái con đường định cư sau này nữa. Okay, we have another question from Anna. She asked, after a long time working with a bachelor, so now she changed to visa 500 with another subject. So does it work? Will it work?
So can you explain again for me? Like
I think the question there, Dallas, it's like if someone has already been working for quite a number of years, can the pathway work? But I suppose, you know, my understanding there would be, you know, we need to find the right course based on the profile of the candidates, right? Based on their background in education, based on their work experience. So if someone has been working for a while, you know, we need to look at, you know, are they, you know, their education level, are they at you know, diploma level, bachelor level, master level? You know, we need to see, because it only makes sense, you know, like that you're continuing and wanting to develop yourself rather than going backwards. And then after that will be your experience, right? Like what's the objective of taking another course? You know, are you progressing your career? Are you making a career change? Or there's something that all these kind of factors we will need to work with the client and also the college like Dallas on to choose the most appropriate course. Yeah, I mean, Dallas, feel free to add your comments there.
I was actually going to say maybe that's a good question for your team to answer.
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah, like, you know, yeah, look through the student's profile, you know, review their documents, everything, and suggest some good pathway for them. Yeah, so,
exactly. Yeah, yeah, definitely there.
Vâng, với câu hỏi của chị Anna thì nếu trong trường hợp mình đã làm một cái thời gian rồi á, và mình có bằng đại học rồi, và sau đây là mình chuyển qua cái visa 500, thì mình chỉ cần kiếm được một cái ngành và nó phù hợp nhất với mình và phù hợp nhất với cái nhu cầu về định cư của mình, thì mình vẫn có thể apply được ạ. Oh, okay, so we have another question. Can this visa have dependent go together with them? So maybe
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, yes, it can. 500 can. You know, again here, we need to assess on a case-by-case basis. You know, 500. If you go, you know, depending on the level of education that the student is doing, that may have implications on the partner and the children. Okay, so you know, of course, if you're going with children, if this person studying, the parent who's studying is 500, then the child is 500. So if the child is studying in primary school or high school, also have to be an international student, right? And then from a partner perspective, you know, if you're taking a diploma or a bachelor, there will be work restrictions. Right, but then of course, if you're taking a master's, saying that there isn't so. But I think this again, it will be a case-by-case basis. We need to discuss with you. Yeah.
Vâng ạ. Thì đối với trường hợp này thì mình vẫn có thể bảo lãnh người thân đi cùng, nhưng mà mình nên có cái sự tư vấn từ phía bên John Hu để xem nó có tốt cho cái hồ sơ của mình hay không ạ. Okay, I think that's the last question I have here.
I mean, that's been really good. You know, good to get different, you know, people to think about different ways or the questions that they may have. I mean, of course, here I want to say, you know, an urge, you know, for anyone who's interested and anyone who's your friends or family that may be interested, you know, feel free to contact us for the case assessment, right? So, yeah, because we are the Australian Migration Registered Agents, we'll find the right visa option, you know, that's suitable for your case. Yeah.
Vâng ạ. Thì nếu trong trường hợp mình còn những cái câu hỏi nào nữa thì mình có thể hỏi các bạn chuyên viên tư vấn của John Hu, và các bạn sẽ cho mình cái lời khuyên tốt nhất về con đường du học cũng như là con đường định cư của mình, cùng với cái sự tư vấn về thông tin về luật từ John và Willie ạ.
And I'll just take this opportunity to thank Dallas as well. I know it's getting quite late where you are, so thank you for your support. You know, keen to, you know, of course, you know, collaborating with yourself and help out students from Vietnam. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you so much for having me. It's been okay. Good. Really great questions and everything. So no, thank you so much. I'm excited to hopefully see some of these some of our attendees in Australia. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Leo.
Okay, thank you, Dallas.
Thanks, Willie.
Cheers. Bye bye.
Dạ vâng ạ. Và cảm ơn anh chị đã dành cái thời gian để tham gia cái buổi webinar ngày hôm nay ạ. Thì em cũng xin phép dừng cái webinar ngày hôm nay. Trong trường hợp anh chị còn câu hỏi nào và cần thêm cái sự tư vấn thì anh chị có thể vui lòng liên hệ với lại chuyên viên tư vấn từ phía công ty John Hu giúp em. Dạ vâng, xin cảm ơn anh chị ạ. Và em xin phép dừng buổi webinar ngày hôm nay ạ.
All right, bye bye.
Okay, bye bye everyone.